Hi, everybody. Welcome to our call tonight. My name is Marilyn Johnson, and I'm your host. And I am honored to introduce our guest speaker tonight. I've known this guy since we were kids, and what a leader. He was an owner of a construction company, had well over 200 employees, and very, very busy, very successful. And he popped in my head, and I contacted him, and I said, "You got to check this out." And he wasn't looking for anything. But this is what I know. Things change in people's lives every few months. And one night he was really busy. He was working all day and one of his employees don't show up for a night and he's on a backhoe all night. And for whatever reason, my name popped in his head and he said, "I wonder what that thing Marilyn's talking about is." So he reached out to me, said, "Send me everything you got." And I had just been in this company a few months. This was back in 2010. Long story short, he checked it out and he called me. He goes, "Do you have any idea what you got a hold of?" He checked out the finances. He checked out their stock. He checked out this company. He's a numbers man. So I hope whoever gets on this call tonight, you take notes. He's one of the top leaders in our company. And with that, take it away, Everett. Thank you.
Thank you, Marilyn. Appreciate that. Yeah, we've known each other since, a while. uh, our junior year in high school, actually, we moved from Alaska to Wyoming and moved from Anchorage to a little town in Wyoming called Lander. So went from 300 some thousand people down to 6,000. And wow, this is not a good place. And I enjoyed it there. And Marilyn was one of the first people I met. She was in a weightlifting class that I was in, and we became friends. And then I left and I went back to Alaska and ended up back in Wyoming, but I hadn't seen her, 31 years. And all of a sudden, I got a Facebook message. We lived in Gillette. I was transferred to Gillette, Wyoming, which is northeast corner of Wyoming, up by Rapid City, South Dakota, in the Black Hills. And it's a huge coal mining town. Back 2/3 of the nation's coal comes from this town. There's 17 coal mines in this area, and they're huge. I mean, they're all open pit mines, and they're monstrous. So in that process, she had contacted me through Facebook, and I thought, well, this is kind of weird. I haven't heard from this girl, since basically 1979. And I thought, oh, she wants to sell me something. And so I started researching her Facebook page, and I didn't really see anything. Honestly, if there would have been something on it about, I don't know, some company or some juice or anything like that, I probably would have blocked her. And I thought, well, I just let that go. And finally contacted her. We talked for a little bit, and sure enough, she says, "Hey, you have time to get in front of a computer? I want you to take a look at something that's important to me." And I says, "Yeah, but the right thing to do is go ahead and take a look at it." And yeah, and so I gave it to my wife. I gave it to her to take a look at. And the funny thing is, um, 5 years before that, we had seen this ABC News clip that she was trying to show me, actually on the news. I mean, on ABC when it first came out. And it intrigued me enough to go to GNC to see if we can find the product. And the girl there at GNC talked us out of it. She was trying to get us to buy something cheaper, is what she was doing. Not knowing that what she had a hold of was something completely different. And we walked out. We just walked out of the store and said, "Yeah, we're not interested, whatever." So we just left. So long story short, 5 years later, it was thrown back on my plate again. And my wife was completely intrigued with it. And I said, "Well, get the product. I said, we want it definitely." I said, "You call her, tell her we want it. I don't want nothing to do with the business." We had a construction company. We were a build-to-suit company. We bought property, we developed it, and we built buildings and then leased them back to companies. And so my job was to call people and ask them if they wanted us to build them a building, and then we would own the risk and then lease it to them. And I didn't have a problem doing that on a daily basis, calling people. And I could find enough buildings to keep us busy for years and years. That wasn't even an issue. So the biggest issue was trying to find the right people that you trust to build them. That was the biggest issue, was the right employees, the right people. So I got frustrated with that, and very frustrated with it. And Marilyn had already shown it. I had looked at it a little bit, and pretty quick, after months and months of kind of talking back and forth off and on, decided to go ahead and take a look at it. I didn't like the way things were going. I never took an ad out of the paper for an employee for hiring. Never. It just stayed there all the time. And it was funny how often people quit you or didn't want to work. It's just kind of a common thing anymore. It's just, even then, in the 2000s, it was still the same way. And what I don't think a lot of people understand is baby boomers are retiring at a rate of 10,000 a day. Nobody can keep up with it. There's no way. They can't be replaced. It's putting employers and just businesses all the way around in a big pickle. And we were one of them. I mean, we just struggled to try and find people that would actually work. And so I decided to really take a look at what she had. It intrigued me. The more I looked at it, the more it kind of opened my eyes. And I said, wait a second, I'm going to build a distribution center. That's all I'm doing here. All I got to do is find like-minded people, build a monster business. Don't worry about the people that don't want to work. Find the ones that want to work and outwork me. That's all I was looking for at the time. And still, to this day, that's all I look for. I'm not worried about the ones that want to quit. This is something for you. I mean, if you're looking, what was unique about this is, we all want time. We want to be able to do what we want, when we want, as many times as we want. We want to take money off the table. We don't even want to worry about money. That's the biggest issue. And then, of course, great health. If you don't have your health, you got nothing. If you've never been sick before, you will. Eventually, you'll understand that part of it. Once you get sick or something happens to a loved one, you'll find out that the most important thing in the world is health. And without that, nothing else matters. You're not any good to your family. You're not any good to your spouse. You're not any good to your kids. You're not any good to your God. You're not any good. I mean, you're not doing your part. So health is the number one thing. And then the rest can follow as long as you have the drive. So that's what I was looking for. And I still look for the same thing, is the one that says, I wished I could find something. I need more time in my life. I can't believe, I can't find something. I'm tired of going to my job every single day, making $20 an hour, $25 an hour, whatever it may, it don't matter, $50 an hour. $50 an hour is $100,000 a year. And frankly, I think bigger than that. I mean, there's more to life. I would rather work, a few short years and take the rest of my life off than work my whole life just to be able to have a few short years to enjoy it. That just doesn't make sense to me. It never has made sense to me to work somewhere for 40 or 50 years and then retire with bad health, just not be able to do what you could have done 20 years before. And people accept that. They absolutely accept it as the normal, and it's not. That's why we built businesses, owned them, and or sold them shortly after that, to be able to have that choice to do what we want whenever we want it. It's not 1 minute you're 20 and the next minute you're 60 or 70 and thinking, wow, I do have an expiration date. I promise everybody's got an expiration date. You just don't know where it's stamped. You just can't find it, but it's there. That I promise. But what if there was something out there that was opposite? What if there was something out there that you could work a shorter period of time and enjoy life in a longer period of time? Would that intrigue you? It would me. That's why we always open it up businesses. So that's why this thing caught my attention, because it was something I can control. It is absolutely something you can control. And you could build it as the sky's the limit. There's not a set income. The income is dependent on you, on what you want to do this. So let me share my screen and I'll kind of go through that and I'll explain that part to you. So, gosh darn it. Sorry. Let me minimize that again. Let's go to the right thing. All right. Share screen. All right. Now, let's get rid of this part. All right. So we, like Marilyn said, we live in Wyoming. We've been here. I was born here, and then we left uh, shortly after that and ended up in Alaska. And my dad chased the pipeline, is what he was doing. And that's all right. I mean, he had a dream, and he, had a bigger dream, and he was hoping to retire well. And one of my favorite places, though, in Wyoming is Jackson Hole, Yellowstone area. And it's just absolutely beautiful around the Tetons. And we actually live just on the other side of the mountain from Jackson Hole. We're 50 miles away from the south entrance to Yellowstone, is where we live. This is our backyard right now, part of the acreage down below our house. And this is everything around it. Our kind of out front, this picture on the right is the Ram's Horn Mountain. And we could see that every single day. And we constantly have, what's cool about this place is it's just unreal with wildlife, elk to deer to antelope to, oh man, a snowplow hit a wolf out in front on the highway in front of our house here, a month ago. A couple of days ago, I was running into town early in the morning, and a black bear was standing on the highway feeding on a deer that had been hit by a vehicle. And first I thought, what the heck is that, as I was coming upon it? And that is one big dog. And as I got closer, I figured out it was a black bear. So, and they haven't, it's been warm enough, they're not hibernating yet. So most of the things we do are for our family. We claim that the most important thing in the world is our family. And my business partner told me a long time ago, he says, what's the most important thing in the world to you? And I says, my family. And he goes, no, it's not. He goes, not when you're working 60, 70, 80, 100 hours a week. There's no way they're the most important thing. He goes, you're doing this claiming that that's the most important thing is why you're doing this. He goes, but you've got to figure out how to work off the many to be able to enjoy your life. And he goes, you're working off the few right now yourself. And he goes, once you figure out how to work off the many, and that's why this particular opportunity, when I was looking at it, I just basically thought, oh, here it is. This is it. Without having to, when we rent buildings to people, mind you, there's a major risk to that. So if you build a building for, let's use a simple one, Home Depot, that means you have to pay for the building. You build it completely, and then they rent it from you on a monthly basis. So your liability isn't exactly paid for the first day they move in. It takes, 15, 20 years for that to get paid off. And when you do that over and over and over, you've got a major risk out there. But what if there was a business out there that's kind of based on the same thing, but it didn't have that risk? And that's what caught my attention on this is, wait a second, I'm way interested in this. So basically it was said, for my family, and this is my family. This upper picture here is my oldest son and his wife. And that wedding was in Punta Cana. And then my youngest son and his wife now just got married in South Dakota 2 years ago now. And that's our family. We have two sons. And then, of course, a couple grandchildren. That's them right here. So Briley and Beckham. And my wife and I are over here. So that is why we get out of bed. This is why we do the things we do. This is why we push ourselves super hard, is to be able to, do things with our family as many times whenever we want, and have them do things with us and be able to fund that and not think twice about it, right? So this particular business and opportunity and product, there are several things that are behind it that have to make these work, all right? So if I can work from home, or if you could work from home from a computer, and the way things are now through Zoom and just this whole computer deal, I could do meetings in the UK. I could do meetings in Hawaii without literally having to jump in a plane and go down there. Now, would I have to once in a while? Yes, that's how you develop relationship. It's hard to develop relationship with your leadership, based on a Zoom or a computer. So once you find them leaders and stuff, then yes, let's go develop them and let's build them, and we'll get into that here in a little bit. So it takes about 6 things for these to be a big deal. Of course, we want it to be something huge about the company. It's got to be something great. Timing, absolutely. We don't want to go back on something that has been out for years, and we're going to struggle because everybody in the world knows something about it. It's got to be pretty new to the market. Trends, it's got to be something that's up and coming. So what is one of the largest trends out there right now, guys? It's health and wellness. Health and wellness, and part of that, a subcategory to that would be what? Eastern medicine. So anything natural. The whole world is moving towards natural, except one country still fights it more than anybody, and that's the United States. The United States puts so many ads out on TV and radio and everywhere they possibly can on pharmaceuticals. We're one of the last countries in the world to keep making people billionaire and trillionaires in the pharmaceutical world. So yes, Eastern medicine, natural path is a huge, matter of fact, a $600 billion trend, and it's already surpassed that. Money, products. So you got to have something that's one of a kind, category creating, that nobody's ever seen before, and the industry's leading that direction. And of course, like I said, money, if we're not paid well, why do it? And you can't talk, I didn't want to talk to anybody unless I knew it was worth their time. How was I supposed to go talk to a business partner or somebody that owned a company and then tell them, oh man, it doesn't pay very well, so sorry man, but it's a good deal to get into. No, you want something to have a really nice payout, like 48% to 49%, in the high 40s as a return, and you'll catch people's attention. And then a training program, a system. You've got to be able to train people. It's got to be right up there with a McDonald's training system, Burger King, Subway, something that can be duplicated over and over and so simple that it can be followed without even thinking about it hardly. And that has got to be part of the big deal right there, is the system. So let's get into those. So first off, let's talk about the company. This particular company is LifeVantage. It's a publicly traded company. I suggest if there's any that you're going to look at, make sure it's publicly traded. You want to stay away from privately owned. There are decisions that are made behind closed doors that I've seen too many of them fold and disappear, and people are left with nothing. Could build something up monstrous, and they're left with nothing. The nice thing about publicly traded is you can follow everything constantly because they are very transparent. This particular one is a pioneer in nutrigenomics. It's a home-based business, which is really, really important these days. Everybody's looking for a home-based business because they want to, homeschool their children. They want to be able to work from their own house. There's just so many reasons it's unreal. We're in more than 16 international markets, which means we're a relatively new company, but yet we've got enough of them out there that you could be worldwide. And we are a parent, or not a parent, but a part of the Direct Selling Association, which most of you are going, what is that? These are basically watchdogs to make sure that we stay legal and legitimate, that we don't do anything that is out of the normal range or legal range. So now we are in these particular countries right here so far. We are actually looking constantly at other countries in the world all the time, but we make sure that we go through all the hoops and steps to make sure every bit of it is legal. Now, timing. Timing is, like I said earlier, is a major part of this. And why is that? You don't want to be in too early. We got in right at the beginning. The company started in 2009, and we were in that range. The bad thing about it is you go through a lot of ups and downs in a pioneering or formulation part of a company. Biggest share of companies fold. Even our construction company had its up and downs. Certain other businesses that we put into it, we had to fold and then move into other businesses to get it to work right. And it was a struggle. Them first, 5 to 7 years were unreal. Unreal. It seemed like more money was going out than it ever was coming in. So the nice thing is we're past that point right now. We are way up in there. We're not quite to critical mass, or momentum is what they call it. And what is that? Critical mass and momentum is this area, this steep grade in a business plan where your product or your business is branded to the world, where everybody in the world figures out who you are. So think about Microsoft or Apple or Netflix, or one of those where they start out at the beginning and nobody really hears about them, but right now everybody knows about them, everybody in the world. So when they usually get up there where it says too late, those are 2 to 7% growths. And unfortunately, that's where most people buy stock in and stuff, where they just kind of barely grow with them, and they didn't know. Most of us don't seem to be able to get in the ground floor, and a lot of us don't see it. That's the biggest problem. We just don't see it. Now, 80% of growth happens in that range right there. Okay. It takes about 1 million people doing this as a business to hit $1 billion. And we're setting, right around 38, 40,000 in the United States, and another, 20, 30,000 in the world. So we haven't even hit 100,000 of us doing this as a business worldwide. It takes about 150,000, and this through Direct Selling Association has kept stats on these companies since the beginning. And if you guys ever want to figure out, how big of a deal these companies are, or this particular style of business has been out with, let's say Avon. Avon started in 1886. That's how long they've been around. There's 3 ways you move product basically in our society. The one that we're most used to is what? Retail. What you see at Walmart, and what you see at Home Depot, and what you see at stores sitting on the shelf. You got all these people with their fingers in the pot collecting money from it until you purchase it and take it home, right? So there's another way, it's called direct sales, where somebody buys it from a manufacturer, and then they go door to door, knocking on your door and saying, hey, would you like to buy the vacuum or knives or whatever it may be? Back in the day, I remember it being encyclopedias, it was a huge thing, and Bibles. Going door to door, selling encyclopedias and Bibles and things like that. And Kirby vacuums, even way back, I remember them running around selling Kirby vacuums. Bad thing about that is, if you get sick, do you make money? No, it's still a one and done deal. The third way is they said way back in the late 1800s was, wait, what's the fastest way to grow a business? Word of mouth. Always has been, always will be, because the same power to get that is negativity too. So we can bury a business on negativity. That's how powerful word of mouth is. We could bury a movie at the box office. We could bury a restaurant and just run around telling everybody how bad that restaurant is. Next thing you know, they're closing just because, bad service or bad food or whatever it may be, not opening their doors enough. So that ended up being network marketing, going, listen, we can take a product, we can let people that want to go out and build their own distribution centers and develop leadership within their organization, because it don't take a lot. If 3 to 5 people that are motivated and driven, that actually have a purpose in life in that direction, then those are the ones you grab. But sometimes you don't know who it is. So we got to go out and grab a bunch till we find the few that want to work. And every business is that way. So in 2003, this started in GNC. It was retail. It was in GNC, Rite Aid, Vitamarts. It was kind of all over the place, Pro Tandem was. Then in 2005, ABC News got a hold of it. They had heard that there was a medical university, doing tests on something that was reducing oxidative stress, which is basically the aging or rusting of our system in our bodies. And it can reduce, this particular product reduced that by 40% in 30 days in every single mammal they tested. And ABC News says they're trying to corner a market that everybody's been looking into forever. And we're going to prove that it's wrong. Well, it went the other direction. In fact, it caught the attention of medical universities from all over the world. And they said, give me what you've got. We want to test it on our particular disease that we specialize in. And they did. So in 2009, the company decided they would launch it as a word of mouth business and let us or people take it out and build it. And they're they were averaging about $3 million a year before that. In their very first year in this industry and this model, it went to $11 million. We're at 30 million right now. So, that's a huge deal. Now, trends, let's go on home-based businesses. Look how big Uber, Airbnb, oh man, all these little mom and pop businesses that you can actually start at your own house, how big it's become, how it's exploded. And that's what people are looking to do. And, Uber drivers earn $9-10 an hour, after overhead. That's not including the wear and tear on their vehicles. That's unreal, but they're doing it everywhere. So what about this? I mean, it's unreal what this can do. And I'll show you a little bit of that here in a little bit. So trends are a huge part of this, and we're right at the arrowhead, at the tip on this thing. Now, product. You can't have something that everybody else has. It's too difficult, and you can't have something that's been out for 30, 40, 50 years, and it's already hit that momentum. It's going to be a struggle, trust me. So Protandim is a Nerve2 activator. There are 3 aging theories in the human body, and one of them nerve. And that one has proven it by every medical university that has studied it to reduce that rusting of the human body by 40% in 30 days on average. Okay, older mammals, more, younger mammals, maybe a little less. So ABC primetime validation, exclusive patents. We've got worldwide patents, international and national, peer-reviewed science in PubMed.gov, National Science Foundation, a banned substance control group approval, right on the bottle. That's a huge deal. So athletes can take it. ABC Primetime reported on this. If you guys haven't seen it, you need to. That is your tool to use. No other network marketing company has ever had a news clip report on their particular product before it was a network marketing company. This happened while it was setting that GNC writing when it was in the retail world. Now, this all started, like I said, 2003. It became a huge deal. And now, what does it do? I mean, why is it a big deal? That's what a lot of people ask me is, oh, why haven't I heard about it? Well, that's funny. It's been on ABC, NBC, PBS, Healing Quest, Today Show, Morning Show, Dr. Oz, Montel Williams. I mean, it's in countless books. It's been all over the place. We just don't pay attention to that type of news. It's just the way it is. Even Harvard has studied this and put papers out to multiple, big name universities. And how you can find those is you jump on the National Library of Science, which is PubMed.gov. Okay. And when you jump into that, there'll be a search box, and you can punch in Protandim, you can punch in Nerve2, you can punch in oxidative stress, you can punch in all these things. There's only one thing in the world that's been proven to reduce oxidative stress by 40% 30 days in every mammal tested on, and that's Protandim. Okay, what does it affect? You see it right here. What ages, basically? Who ages? Here's the other demographic on the thing. Who ages? So who do you go after? Everybody. It isn't, we're trying to find somebody that needs to lose weight. We're trying to find somebody that's lost all their hair. We're trying to find somebody that is this or is that. And guess what the bonus on this thing is? What else is mammals? Dogs, cats, horses are pets. And they said every mammal they tested on, so why not? We started giving it to dogs. We started giving it to horses. And what it does to them is amazing. Nothing short of incredible. They don't know what they're eating. They just think you're feeding them more food. So that's all. And what it does to them is unreal. So this is the third-party validation. Here's some of the university right here. But what I would do, I would use that ABC primetime clip, okay? And then I would use PubMed. Easiest thing in the world to teach is duplication. Simplicity and duplication. That's it. You don't need to be one of those research artists that go out there and you research everything for years till you memorize everything. Because what I'm going to tell you is all you're going to hear is I'm broken, I don't have time. Basically, that's somebody's telling you that I don't want to learn or do what you do. It's too much. I'm not that person. But what you can do is show them how to jump onto pubmed.gov and how to give that to other people in the ABC Primetime, which makes it super simple. And then they can do all their own research through all these medical universities that have already spent millions and millions of dollars researching it. And then nobody else has to go out and try it because you can't outdo what they've done already. That's how big of a deal these are. They even wrote, so Virginia Commonwealth University is associated with American Heart Association. All right. They do all the heart research and testing and everything for American Heart Association and their magazine Circulation. There was a big article in Circulation when this all first got started and everything, and that was enough. You can jump on pubmed.gov and then just pull up, when you pull up Protandim and you go to the one by American Heart Association, that should be enough for you right there to say, I'll take this for the rest of my life. That isn't even looking at what Harvard and LSU and Colorado State or any of the others have already done. That was enough for me right there. There wasn't one bad thing said about it because the 5 ingredients in this particular product are all natural. They're all herbs. So what can we use in the products, the things that we can use and go out and make it duplicatable and simple is that Nerve2 or Protandim reduce oxidative stress by 40% in 30 days. Every mammal's been tested on. The 2005 ABC Primetime, we are allowed to use that over and over and over and use it as a teaching platform and an information platform. It's unique, it's consumable, it's category creating. In other words, why do we say it's category creating? It is not a supplement. Supplements are exactly what the word is. It's something that you take to supplement what you're lacking in, right? So what if you had something that goes in and flips a switch in your body, that it turns a switch on and it allows your body to do what it did when you were younger, when you were a child or a baby or when you were first born? That's what this does. It just flips a switch on to go back to work doing what it does. It just consumes free radicals that poison our system at such an incredible rate. It's unreal. And our bodies did that when we were children. It's inside-outside approach. In other words, we've got a lotion that's made from the same stuff for our skin. And then, of course, we got Protandim that takes the inside-out approach at a cellular level. Everything's rooted in science, exclusive patents, international, national, and use pubmed.gov to your advantage. All right, and teach from that. Now, not only did we have the other 3 products as pills for the 3 aging theories, one of the biggest products coming out in the industry right now for about a decade now has been collagen. Collagen's a huge thing. And LifeVantage has been working on that for quite a few years. And the reason they have is if it weren't for collagen in our system, we'd be a blob on the ground. We would have no structure to our body or to our system whatsoever, and you'd be a glob on the ground. So biggest share of our body is made of collagen, and as we get older, it breaks down and it disappears. But what if there was a liquid collagen out there that activates, replenishes, and maintains what you've got going on? So if it reactivates the collagen in our system that's been falling off and disappearing or getting weak or just flat out disappearing, and it replenishes it back and then maintains it on a daily basis to keep doing what it does, wouldn't that be a huge deal? What does it benefit? It benefits about everything in your system also, from your nail growth, the hair growth, muscle recovery. And that's one of the things I noticed is even in my 60s, I like to go lift weights still and ride my mountain bike and things like that. And one of the things I noticed is joints, that how, and in my recovery time was nowhere near what it used to be. But wow, after starting to take this stuff, I couldn't believe the difference in my joints. I couldn't believe the difference in muscle recovery. Bench pressing was, that was the part that was tearing me up because I have tore up my shoulders over the year in construction where I've had multiple shoulder surgeries. Now, bone strength, you ladies, that's one of the biggest issues, and all the way through your heart. this is something we really should look at, and sleep time, so forth and so on. We have multiple products that'll fit everybody and what they've got going on, from personal care, daily essentials, anti-aging, Nerf 1, Nerf 2, and NAD. That's the 3 aging threes. Okay. To skincare products, hair care products, weight loss, weight management products, and even an energy drink, which I don't really call it an energy drink. I don't see it that way, as more as a focus. The botanicals that are in it are basically to lift the fog, the brain fog that you get, say, mid-afternoon or whatever, to lift that, re-energize you, and just make you feel more spry. Now, and of course, pet products, a dog product. Now, income-wise, this is what I was talking about earlier, where my partner told me the one time, he says, what's the most important thing in the world to you? And I says, well, my family. And he goes, no, you got to figure out how to work off the many and not off the one. And Robert Kiyosaki explained that the best. And it's in his book called Cash Flow Quadrant. There's 4 different ways that money flows through our economy. And, through college, growing up in at our house and going through high school and on, we were always taught to get a job, right? Our parents always said, go get a job, get the money. And that's always been beaten in our head ever since. I don't ever remember my parents saying, you need to go build a business and become successful. It was always go get a job and get an income. So those are linear. Basically what linear means is you trade time for money, right? So, and that's fine. Can you do very well as an employee? Yeah, shoot, yeah. I mean, I made really good money in different businesses or jobs that I had. I shouldn't say business, but jobs. Self-employed, which is small businesses. These are, maybe 100 employees, even 200 employees, that type of stuff, or less. Those are small business. And then you get over on the other side where you're leveraged. You're working off the many. So a large business owner, what that means, the IRS considers that 500 employees are $10 million a year revenue or more. Okay. And investors are the people that invest in those. Those are the people that have an incredible amount of money, and they give Apple all their startup money to get going, or Microsoft or Netflix, or something like that, and get them rolling where they want. Wouldn't that be nice to be in that category, to where you can help other people start up monster businesses? So how do we get? That's the biggest question all the time, is how do we get from the employee and self-employed side over to the other side? And here's something I wanted to use as a comparison, business-wise. So a few years ago, I put this in, and it's probably changed in numbers just a little bit, but not going to be much. So the average annual salary in U.S. today, households, $56,516. Now, the average lawyer makes 144, all the way down. If you look at the bottom one, McDonald's. McDonald's franchise, this one always intrigued me, because we owned a piece of property in Catherine, Wyoming. It was on one of the busiest intersections in the state. And we started looking at a McDonald's. And I started doing all the research on it, because I knew a guy that was a manager at McDonald's for a lot of years, sharp dude. And we were going to hire him to run them for us. And after I called, they wanted $2 million, $2.1 million to just get into the franchise. And you had to qualify for it. There's a lot of things you had to go through. And really intrigued me was, do you know McDonald's is the largest real estate company in the world? So they own more property in the world than any other business in the world or company does in the world. McDonald's does. And so they rented us their building. I never owned it. If I got into this particular franchise, I would never own the building. And they could dictate to me, where I was going to be at, and when I had to change things, if we had to remodel or whatever it may be. Their average income is 150 grand a year per store. That's why most of them own several stores, 2, 3, 4 stores. I even know a guy who owns 6. So that started to catch my attention. I go, wait a second. What if we can get into a business that, would be so dirt cheap to get into that it almost doesn't even sound real? That you, depending on how much product you want to be able to get started with, to have an experience with, to, all the way, I mean, from $200 to $1,000 to get into a business that has potential to make more than what a McDonald's owner makes on his store, and you got in for a fraction of what they get in for, that started to catch my attention. And that was one of the things I was looking at then. And I really started looking at really hard. And the only thing that, one of the questions I had to ask at the beginning was, how much do I have to cover on overhead on a monthly basis to make this work? And if you ever owned a business and just doing payroll, we had to hire an accounting firm to do our payroll for a while because, we was just a few of us working there. We didn't have time. And that got really expensive after a while. Once we started getting up around that 30 and 40 employees, we finally were able to hire a couple of accountants to work for us to take care of our own finances and stuff. And they said in this particular company, they go, listen, if you start out buying $200 worth of product per month, we will do all your payroll, shipping, manufacturing, storage. We don't store nothing. You don't have to store a single thing in your pantry. You're not going door to door. That was one of the things I told Marilyn. I will not go door to door. I'm sorry. I'm not that type of guy. I won't stock it at all anywhere. And she goes, great. We don't do that. I was good. She goes, welcome to the computer age. And I just kind of laughed. And I was, well, I remember the Amway days. I remember those people stocking soap in their garages by the pallet load and then trying to go out and sell the stuff door to door. And I didn't want to be that guy. So, basically in this one, I wanted to build a business. Now there are certain people, it can work for you in either direction. If you believe everybody in the world should be on the product, great. So that's what this upper left, this is the customer approach to the whole monthly income. So let's say you have between $500 and $1,000 a month in product users, you get 5% of that on a monthly basis. All right. So that's not bad. So, now you're looking at a little bit of a check. Let's get all the way up to 4,000 plus. Let's say you had $5,000 in customers per month going out, and you're getting 20% of that as a diamond, and you're getting 20% of that on a monthly basis. Now you're earning $1,000, right? And that's just one, at where you work, how many different ways do you get paid? In this particular company, guys, you get paid so many different ways, it's unreal. And that's why I suggest the person that invited you to this, I would have them, sit down with you and go through and explain all the different ways. So know this, there's upfront money that you get paid for basically on a weekly basis, all right? There is mid-load money as you build a business that pays the 15th of the month. And these are percentages also that pays for what's going on in your team. So total sales through everybody, not just what you're doing, like I was showing you up here in this upper left on personal sales, which is just you all by your lonesome. But what if you built a team and you had a whole bunch of these people doing that same thing over and over and over? And what if you had $80,000 a month or more going out on a monthly basis is what, all of us are doing, more than that. So you get 10% on your first level, then 7, 7, 6, 6. Look at this, all the way down. That's over and above this. That's just another way of getting paid. This is the one of the big ones that intrigued me right there. I was like, this has got my attention. What if I was doing 200,000, 300,000, 500,000 a month through everybody? I was able to teach well, develop leadership, and go out and do that kind of stuff. And all of a sudden, I'm getting those percentages on those levels. And I'm going, wait a second, that just made me Walmart. And so here's the thing is, daily bonuses, there are so many different directions that these things pay right there. Pay daily, weekly, monthly. Here is the one that really got me into the business that really caught my attention was, let me get these. I just kind of explained what was going on right there is, oh gosh darn it. I think I blocked that one out. So think about this for a second. How many of you ever been into a business that had profit sharing? A lot of us had profit sharing. Now, what if you got into a business that shared monthly sales? 4% of monthly sales with anybody that hit 80,000 up, and they gave you a share. There's so many shares that go up per month for each level. So you got 80,000, there's 5 different levels above that, and each person adds another share as you build that rank. So if the company's doing $230 million a month, or a year, I'm sorry, 230 million a year. So that's working close to what, $18,000 or $19,000 a month, a million, sorry, 18 or $19 million a month. Now they take 4% of total sales, they throw it in a pot, and when you hit those ranks, they take a share of each one of them, and you begin to get it. And that check, and I've been part of that now for 12 years. That check, guys, is more than what some people make a month. And that caught my attention. I kept thinking about Amway. I went back and researched Amway, and I didn't know anything about this industry. You know, at one point, Amway made $14 billion a year, $14 billion. And you divide that by 12 months, take 4% of that, and you start sharing it with the leadership that gets to that point. I'm in. I am totally in. And that's just another way. So this is how we teach through the mentorship program. But this is the part that you teach to everybody, and you get them to write it down. The 3 big ones, the 3+1, and you, we will work on that later. But the 3 huge ones is show that ABC primetime 15 times a month to show people how to jump on PubMed.gov to validate what you're showing them. You don't have to try to talk anybody into it. If they don't see it, walk off. Just tell them, hey, listen, we're still friends. I'll never mention it again. That's the professional side of this, all right? So how many people you think are out there that are looking for more? More time, better health, or just more money to take it off the table? I'm tired of being broke. How many people tell you I'm tired of being broke, or I'd like to go on vacation, or I'd like to afford a new car, or I'd like to afford a new house. I'm just sick of being broke, or I'd like to be able to retire. I hear that a lot, is I wished I could retire. I can't. You know that more than 90%, it's working closer to 95% of people will not retire. They won't have the money to retire at all. So would that be you? Why not fix that? So show the ABC primetime 15 times a month or more. If you want this thing to grow fast, do way more than that. Attend all the trainings that are put out on a monthly basis. Most of them are Zoom, they're online. Then there are going to be several throughout the year. There will be somewhere that are done by corporate and by building depth to teach you business. These ones are in person, and you know about them way ahead of time. So you'll be able to take the time off and run to them on a Friday, Saturday, and come home on Sunday. Give it. This is where everybody fails. I have heard too many people say I tried it for a month or 2 and it didn't work. Nobody's ever built a business on a month or 2. Nobody. I don't know too many people that have built a business on a year, let alone a month or 2. So always give it a 2 to 5 year commitment. I suggest 5, but a 2-year commitment, minimum of 15 presentations a month or more. Keep track of it on a calendar or a daily calendar, or a monthly calendar, and give it that 2 to 5 years. 15 presentations a month. If you want it to grow fast, do way more than 15. Once I figured that part out, as many hours as I was putting into my company, I just squeezed it in the nooks and crannies of my life. And what I mean by that is anytime I was walking out to my vehicle to run to the parts store, to Home Depot, to one of the lumber yards or whatever it may be, I made as many phone calls as I could as quick as I could. And still to this day, it's, hey, can you get to your computer real quick? I'm in a hurry. And they said, no, what's this about? And I said, I tell you what, I'll tell you about it when you call me back and get in front of your computer. As I'll talk to you later, appreciate it. And I'd hang up. If you stay on the phone, all you're going to do is dig a hole. That's it. You'll answer questions you shouldn't have. Let the ABC primetime do the work for you. If they don't like what they see, it's okay. They weren't the one. And that's okay. You're still friends. Tell them that I won't mention it again, but I promise you they're watching you. I promise that. Okay. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and jump off here. There's so much more, guys. We could spend hours on this thing, and we don't need to. So know this: if this is the first time you've seen this, or you're just looking at, or you are in, remember those three things: is do your 15 presentations a month or more, show the ABC prime time 15 times a month or more, attend the events, and give it a 2 to 5 year commitment. If you're failing or you're struggling, look at those three things. Keep them on your mirror. And every day you look at that going, am I doing my part to build a multi-million-dollar business? And you can always come back to one of those. If it's not succeeding, it's one of those things right there. So, and then keep in touch with your organization, your downline and your upline, and that'll help a bunch too. So Marilyn, I'll flip this back over to you, and thank you. I appreciate it very much. Good seeing you, Ron.
Good seeing you.
Thanks, Everett. Guys, it's real. I've been with this company since 2010. You never know when you're going to get life done. You just don't know what's going to happen. So dig the well before you're thirsty. I'm so thankful I did. I hope everybody has a wonderful Merry Christmas if I don't see you before then. And we'll plan on doing this one more week next week. Yeah, I think that's right. Anyway, thank you for joining us. I do have a YouTube channel, and it's just Marilyn Johnson LifeVantage. I'm going to have Everett's presentation on there. So you can just go there. It's free. If you're like, Marilyn, I just don't know what to do, click and play. You know, that's how simple this is. So again, I'll have this posted for us tonight if you guys want to check it out. Or if you think, dang, I wish I would have had somebody on here. Now you can. So with that, you guys have a blessed night. Thanks for joining us, and we'll talk to you soon. Good night, everyone. Bye.
Thank you.